Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a bracelet today, and as you can see, I'm going to use several different colors of bicones in it. I'm not going to need nearly this many bicones. That's what I have out here. It's going to be an embellished square stitch bracelet. I did an embellished square stitch bracelet before with some beads I got in one of the Jesse James Magical Mystery Bead boxes. There were some 11-ohs in there and some little center drill flowers, and I did the base with 11-ohs, and then I put little flowers on top. It was quite difficult because you have to go through square stitch a lot, and when you put that much thread through those little 11-ohs, it gets really tight in there, especially when I was trying to put the little flowers on top. It was quite difficult. Recently, I got some happy friend mail from my sweet friend Jamie, and in there were some strands of bicones. And it made me think of a bracelet that Kelly Dale from Off the Beaded Path does. She calls it the Magic Carpet Bracelet. And she embellishes the top of square stitch with bicones and seed beads. And I mentioned it when I was going through there and through those beads. And I had a lady ask that I do a video on the Magic Carpet Bracelet. I've seen it done in several different versions over the years by several different people. You can embellish it with just anything you want to, and I've seen a lot of other people embellish it with a lot of different things. I've done it and embellished it with rounds and rondelles. I did one where I embellished it with gemstone chip beads. You can just use anything. You embellish the whole top with seed beads if you want to, and not even use bicones or anything, just seed beads. Just whatever you want to do. Whenever I do these bead weaving videos, I always just do basic stitches, and sometimes I embellish them a little bit, but I will never be able to come up with a unique pattern on my own. I've tried, I just can't. My mind doesn't work that way. I'm just not that creative to come up with a pattern all on my own. And if I have ever done anything that's anything beyond a basic stitch, it's something that I have seen done so much over the years by so many different people in exactly the same way that in my mind it has kind of become a basic stitch, and I would have no idea who to give credit to for it, because it's been done so much by so many different people in the exact same way. But because I wanted to do this one pretty much exactly the way Kelly does hers, and I don't know, I'd say a lot of people have probably embellished the top of square stitch with bicones, but she's the only one I have seen. And I didn't feel like I should do it without asking her permission. So I sent her an email and asked her, and expected it probably would take some time for her to get back to me, because I know she's probably very busy, but she got right back to me. She was so sweet, and she said that I had her blessing to do a tutorial on it. And she was just so generous and sweet. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm not going to do it exactly like hers, but it's going to be really, really close to hers, which is why I wanted to get her permission. A lot of people that have done it over the years have called it a rug bracelet. I don't remember. I think some people have actually even called it a magic carpet bracelet. I don't know if they got her permission or not, but I just didn't want to do it without getting her permission, because she's the only one that I know of that has done it with bicones and seed beads, and that's the way I wanted to do it. I've got all these different colors of bicones out here. I've got some light blue ones, some metallic purple ones, some fuchsia colored ones, some more light blue ones, but these are kind of an opaque, where these are transparent. And then I've got some yellow ones, some orange ones, some metallic blue ones, and some pink ones. I'm going to be using some 6-ohs, which are going to be much easier to go through than those 11-ohs I did before. And these are an opaque jade green. I'm sort of going for a flower bed look here. This is going to be my grass. And the bicones are going to be my little flowers. So this is opaque jade green and 6-ohs. And I have some 11-ohs in the same thing, opaque jade green. I'm going to use a few of these little 2mm silver druck beads. And I've got a little toggle clasp here. This is not double-sided, and I usually only use these when I make a bracelet that I know that's going to have a for sure top. If it's a bracelet that either side could be the top, I usually don't like to use these. They're not double-sided. But if it's one like this that's going to have a definite top, I like to use these for that. And I think I'm just going to sew it straight onto the bracelet. I'm not going to use wire guards and jump rings like I often do. I've got 2 size 11 tulip beading needles here. I'm only going to be using one, but I have the extra one. And sometimes I use it to add thread, and sometimes I just need one because I drop them and lose them, never to be seen again. I have my 8-pound fire line and smoke. I have my flat nose, or my chain nose pliers to flatten my thread so I can get it through the needle. And I have my scissors somewhere, here they are, to cut my fire line with. I think that's everything as far as tools and stuff. I'll put links to everything I can find links for in the description box below. Of course, I'm not going to have links to these bicones. These are just some that I've gathered over the years. I have no idea where I got any of these bicones. I had told the lady that asked about me doing this bracelet that I would try to get it done before my surgery, and I was not able to. I apologize that I was not able to, but I had to order some 6/0s because I don't have a lot of 6/0s. I don't use them very often, so I had to order some, and then I wanted to get her permission to do it, and also that's why I didn't have it done before my surgery, but I'm going to do it today. So hold on, let me get some of my beads poured out, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got some of my 6/0s poured out here. I'm going to start with them, and I knew I'd forget something. I'm going to be using some of my 11/0 galvanized silver seed beads just at the clasp to sew the clasp on. I'm not going to use many of these. And I also forgot that I was going to say that I will link Kelly's video where she does her magic carpet bracelet in the description box below in case you want to go look at that. She did it, I think it was about 7 years ago. I think it was right about the time I started beading when she did that. And she had it in several different colorways. At that time, she sold kits where you could buy and get, all the beads and everything you needed to make it. She doesn't sell the kits anymore, but she does sell the pattern. I think it's like a digital download you can buy. And I'll link that, her website where she sells that, in the description box below too, in case you'd rather do that. I think it's like $4. And that way, if you'd rather follow a written pattern. I know some people would rather follow a written pattern than a video. So I'll put all that in the description box below. So I'm starting with my 6/0s here, and I've only got about 3.5 feet of thread. I usually start with about 6 feet of thread, but I didn't want y'all to have to watch me wait while I pull all that thread through. I'm leaving about a 12-inch tail to come back later and sew my clasp on with. So I'm going to pick up 6 of my 6/0s. And I'm going to bring them down here to my stop bead. And now, this is not peyote. I know it kind of looks like it, but it's not. This is square stitch. So I'm going to pick up one of my 6/0s, and I'm going to square stitch it onto this bead that's on the bottom here. I'm going to do that by going through the top of this bead. And that sets that new bead next to the bead that was already there on the bottom. Now I'm going to go up the new 6/0 that I just put on. And these beads are big, and they've got big holes in them, so you kind of have to hold them to make sure they stay as tight as they need to. Now I'm going to pick up another 6/0. I'm going to square stitch it onto this next one here by going through the top of it. Now I'm going to go over here and go up the new one that I just put on. I'm just going to do that all the way up through here. I'm going to pick up a 6/0. I'm going to go into the top of this 6/0, square stitch this onto that one, come across here and go back up the new one I just put on. Make sure not to get caught around the bottom there. I'm going to pick up another one, square stitch it onto this one. Go up the new one. Just be careful not to get caught around the bottom there because it wants to. Pick up another one, square stitch it onto this one. Go up the new one. Pick up another one, square stitch it onto this top one up here. Go up the new one. Now I'm going to go down this whole first row that I did. And then I'm going to go back up this new row that I just put on. So there's what I've got so far. If you want to go back down through these, I'll just do it. If you want to go back down through these and back up again, there's plenty of room in these 6/0s if you want to do that. I'm not going to do that every time, but I did do it that first time. I'll do it that first time. Now I'm going to flip it over here because I just like to do this from the bottom. I like to go from the bottom up. That just is not sitting the way I want it to. Maybe it'll straighten up when I do this next row. Okay, I'm going to pick up another 6/0. I'm going to square stitch it onto this one on the bottom here. Go up the new one. Pick up another 6/0. Square stitch it onto this next one. Go up the new one. Pick up another 6/0. Square stitch it onto this one. Go up the new one. I got something caught in there. Got my stop bead thread caught in there. Try to hold it out of my way here. I'll pick up another 6/0. I'll square stitch it onto this one. I'll go back up the new one. Pick up another one, square stitch it onto this one. Go back up the new one. Pick up another one, square stitch onto this top one. Go back up the new one. And now I'm going to go down this whole previous row. And back up. This new row that I just put on. Now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do that again all the way up. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I have the length that I want. I'll have to add thread shortly, but I'm not going to come back and show you. It's the way I add thread to everything. You got plenty of room in here to go back through and tie 3 half-hitch knots and then just add a new thread on and continue on with that. So when I get to the length that I want, I'll be back and we'll put one end of the clasp on and then we'll do the embellishment. Okay, I've got my length now and I've got 6 inches. I'm going to try to make a 7.5 inch bracelet, and my clasp is going to take up 1 inch, and the little part I'm going to do to connect my clasp will probably take up about 1/2 inch at least. So I'm just going to do 6 inches of beading. And I had a full tube here. This was a 20-gram tube of 6/0s, and I only have a few left there, so it will probably take a full tube of 6/0s, maybe even more if you're going to make a longer bracelet than 6 inches. Your beading part to be 6 inches. So now I'm going to put my clasp on, and I forgot to mention, but in Kelly's video she made her own toggle and loop clasp, and I've got one here that I've made. It's a little worse for wear because the little loop's not as round as it used to be, and the toggle has I've got to work on it or redo it or something. I've carried it around to so many craft shows over the years that it's come loose there. If I were to make it again, I'd probably leave this part on the end off. I mean, it's pretty. It decorates it up a little bit, but it makes it easy for this to happen where your thread will come out like that. So I probably would just leave this end part off if I do it again. But she made a clasp, a toggle and bar clasp like that, and of course it perfectly matched the bracelet. But I'm just going to use this clasp here. So I'm coming out this last 6/0 that I added on here, and I need to be coming, I want to be coming out either the second 6/0 on this side or the one on this side, and I want to be coming out going inside to the inside of my bracelet. So I'm going to sew down this whole line here, and then I'm just going to come up these two right here, and I'm going to pick up 4 of my silver 11/0s and a bicone, and I've picked a purple one. Can you imagine that? And another 11/0. I just always, when I use bicones, I always pick up a seed bead on either side of the bicone because they can be sharp and potentially cut your thread, so that kind of guards against that. Now I'm going to go through my bar part of my toggle, and then I'm going to come down and I'm going to go back through this 11/0 and the bicone and the 11/0 underneath the bicone. Now I'm going to pick up 3 more of my 11/0s. I'm going to go in this second 6/0 from the end and through like that. Now I want to reinforce that, so I'm going to go all the way down this line again. And then I'm going to go back up these two, tighten that up. I'm going to go back up these two, back up these 3 11/0s, up the 11/0, the bicone, and the 11/0, back through my clasp, back down the 11/0, bicone, the 11/0 under the bicone, back down these 3 11/0s, and back into this second 6/0 from the end and through to the end there. Now I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to go through all this line here. Back up these 2 6/0s, up these 3 11/0s, up the 11/0, the bicone, and the 11/0, back through my clasp, back down the 11/0, bicone, and 11/0, back down the other 3 11/0s on the other side, back out these two 6/0s. So now I've got that side of my clasp on. Now I'm going to get my bicones and my green 11/0s and we'll start doing the embellishment. Okay, now I'm going to start putting on my embellishments, and I switched out those 2mm silver druck beads for these 2mm. These are Potomac 2mm rounds. They're Emerald AB. I decided those 2mm silver ones were not blingy enough for me. And I thought I wanted to get some silver down through the bracelet, but I think I'll just stick with the green. So I'm going to use these. You don't have to use those at all. You can really embellish this with anything you want to. You can do it entirely in seed beads if you want to. Like I said, I've done it with rounds, and I did one with gemstone chips that my sister-in-law loves so much that she's got it. You can embellish this with anything. I'm coming out this 6/0 here where I came through after I sewed on my clasp. I need to be coming out one of these 6/0s on the end, but I need to be going toward the inside of my bracelet. So I'm just going to go down this line here. And then I'm going to come up this 1 6/0. Now I've got my little green 11/0s here. They're the same color as my base 6/0s. Of course, they don't have to be, but mine are. So I'm going to pick up 3 of them, and I'm going to pick up one of my bicones. I'm going to pick up one of these blue ones here, and 3 more of my green 11/0s. Now I'm going to circle back around the bead that I'm coming out of and go into the next 6/0. And put that embellishment on top of that 6/0 there. Now every other one I'm going to do 3 of my 11/0s. And one of these little 2mm rounds. And 3 11/0s. Now I think in the one Kelly did, that she did all seed beads. She did like a bicone, and then the next one all seed beads. So you can just do anything you want to. Now I'm coming out this second 6/0 here. I'm going to circle back around it, go through it, and the next 6/0. Now this next one I'm going to put a bicone on. So I'm going to pick up 3 of my 11/0s. And I think I'll do one of my yellow bicones. And 3 11/0s. I'm coming out that third 6/0 there from the end. I'm going to go in it, circle back around it, and go in the next 6/0. Now this next one I'm just going to do 3 11/0s, one of my 2mm rounds, and 3 11/0s. I'm coming out this 6/0 here. I'm going to go back around it, circle back around it, and go back into go through the next one too. Just be careful when you pull these through and make sure you don't get caught on the embellishments you've already made. Now I'm going to do a bicone this time, so I'm going to pick up 3 11/0s. I think I'll pick up one of these opaque blue bicones and 3 11/0s. Coming out this next to the end 6/0, I'm going to circle back around it and then come through that 6/0 on the end there. Now this next one I'm just going to do with my little 2mm round. So I pick up 3 11/0s, my 2mm, I can get one on my needle, and 3 11/0s. Now I'm coming out that very last 6/0. I'm just going to circle around it. And now I'm going to do the next row. So I'm going to come through this 6/0 on the end here. And I did on this last one here, I did my 2mm, so I'm going to do a bicone here. So I'm going to do 3 11-ohs, 3 green 11-ohs, I'll do one of my red bicones, 3 green 11-ohs. Coming out this one on the end, I'm going to circle around it and then go through it and the next 6/0. Now this time I'm going to do one with my 2mm round. I'll pick up 3 11-ohs, a 2mm, 3 11-ohs. Coming out this second one from the end here, I'm going to circle back around it and come out the next one. Now I'm going to do a bicone here. I'm going to do 3 11-ohs. I think I'll do one of my purple bicones this time, and 3 11-ohs. Coming out this 6/0, I'm going to circle back around it, go through it and the next one. Now I'm going to do one with my 2mm bead. I'm going to pick up 3 11-ohs, one of my 2mm rounds, and 3 11-ohs. Coming out this green one here, this green 6/0 here, I'm going to circle back around and go back around it and through the next 6/0 in line there. Now the last one I'm going to do a bicone in, so I'm going to do 3 11-ohs, one of my orange bicones, and 3 11-ohs. Coming out this next to the last 6/0 here, I'm going to go through it, around it, circle around it, and then go out the one on the end there. Now I'm going to do the last one here with my 2mm. I'm going to pick up 3 11-ohs, a 2mm, and 3 11-ohs. And I'm going to circle back around this one on the end here that I'm coming out of. Now I'm going to start to go down the next row. So I'm going to go down the first 6/0 in that row. And this is where I'm going to do a bicone. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I've got all these embellishments on top of my bracelet. And it's going to be really full of bicones when I get done. So when I get it all done, I'll come back and well, when I get it all done, I'll put on the other end of the clasp just like I did this one. I'll sew the other end of the clasp on just like I did this one. I don't need to show you that again. And then when I get done, I'll come back and we'll put the clasp on. Okay, I'm done and I've got all my embellishments on here now. It is several days later because this takes some time to do. Of course, I'm not the fastest beater in the world, but it does take some time. And I think I said in that last clip that I didn't need to come back and show you how I put the clasp on this end, since I had already showed you how I did it on this end and it was going to be exactly the same way. And then after I got that done, I would come back and we would put the clasp on, which of course makes absolutely no sense, because if I was going to go ahead and do the clasp off camera, then there'd be no clasp to put on when I come back. I don't know what I was thinking. I must have been thinking that I was using a wire guard, and then I was going to come back and put the clasp on with jump rings is the only thing I can think of. I don't know. Quite oftentimes, my brain decides to take a vacation and leave me behind, so I don't know what I was thinking. The only thing, if I had it to do over this, I hadn't done one of these in a while. If I had it to do over, I would have left a little bit more room on this end that has the toggle bar, it will still clasp together fine. And it didn't have any problem clasping together, but if I had it to do over, I would have left more room on this side. Just so it would for sure have plenty of room to clasp together. I guess I'll call this my flower garden bracelet, since that's the look I was going for. I don't want to call it the magic carpet bracelet, since that's what Kelly called hers, but it really does look like a shaggy carpet. It does take a lot of beads. Like I said, the base, I did 6 inches of the 6/0s for the base, and I had a full tube of 20 gram tube of 6/0s, and this is all I had left of those. And the 11/0 green seed beads that I used, I had a full 22 gram tube, and I have about half, maybe a little over half of a 22 gram tube left. So it takes a lot of beads. It takes a lot of thread. I tried to keep up with it, and if I kept up with it right, I used about 40 feet of thread. And I think in Kelly's, when she made up the kits, I believe she included 15 yards of thread in her kit, so that of course would be 45 feet. So if you're going to make this, I would plan on having a lot of thread on hand and a lot of time. I really do appreciate Kelly allowing me to do this on my channel. It was so sweet of her. And Kelly, if you happen to see this, thank you again. I know I already thanked you, but I really do appreciate you allowing me to do this on my channel. I know that it takes many, many hours to come up with a bead weaving design. I have spent many, many hours trying to come up with a bead weaving design that I could call my own, and I have failed. I've never been able to do it. So I know and appreciate that it takes many, many hours to come up with a design, and I really do appreciate you allowing me to do this on my channel. I will put a link to her video, like I said, in the description box below, and I would encourage you to watch it, because you will very likely find her way of showing how to do it much easier to follow than mine. She's been doing it for a lot longer than I am. She's an excellent instructor, and you probably will find her way of showing how to do it much easier than my way. But so there it is. I guess I'll call it my flower garden bracelet. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll post a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, hope you all have a great day. Take care.